Hey there.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining in. How's it going, Taylor? How's it going, everybody?
I'm waiting for someone from the audience to shout out. No, it's going well. I'm back in the States now, which has been a bit exhausting. And I had a bachelor's party for my brother-in-law last weekend. So I think last week, between coming back from Serbia and flying out to that, I spent 40 hours in airports or airplanes. I feel like there should be like a hashtag travel or something there.
Yeah.
No, not that glamorous, but it was a good time. And yeah, today, later today, I'll be driving out to Virginia. The U.S. Army and some aid agencies have called me up there to help consult. They are currently housing 6,000 Afghan evacuees. Yeah, so they just want some help getting the camp set up right and understanding the processes, how to help these people. And hopefully over the next 3 to 6 months, everyone will get processed and begin integrating with U.S. society, which would be great, unlike Europe, where they tend to get stuck there for a while.
Yeah. Oh, that's remarkable, Taylor. Like I'll admit I was already privy to this information, but I'm still like super excited to see what kind of help that you can bring with your expertise for these refugees to be able to, make everything easier for the refugees coming in. That's fantastic. We've got V Prevails sharing here. They're doing good.
What up? Glad to hear it. Yeah. No, I think it's really also highlights the need for our technology, because I'll be explaining the processes that we use, right, and helping kind of advise on distributions and things. But how cool would that be if you just have an app to build a needs list, right, or to track inventory or something like that? It's very much, the town, I wouldn't say everybody, there's some people who are a bit skeptical, but a lot of the townspeople have come together to try to gather supplies, to support folks in this camp who literally arrive with only the shirts on their back. And so, how can we go from zero to a well-functioning community collection and distribution process, working with large agencies, kind of the grassroots, but also it's, run by the Army with USAID and other agencies there, as quickly as possible, because that's what it takes in these situations. And I think that's where the tech we're building will really help people, through open content knowledge, through the open source software that they can use, and then of course with the logistics support from our team.
No, that's excellent. And of course, I'm going to take that opportunity to very meekly plug the fact that, folks, if you want to help out with Distribute Aid, you've got the possibility to contribute to all of their open source projects, which we're going to be showcasing. But also, if you can't, they've also got an open collective listing. I'm going to link that here as I'm never going to fail to do, because I think it's so important to be able. I'm just going to display the link here. Financial as well as code contributions go a long way towards making these things possible, and having these improvements. And of course, by doing the open source work, we've been doing this, Taylor. I'm starting to lose track of time, but at least 3 months. Yeah.
Like that.
At least 3 months. It's been tremendously educational for me, and I'm super thankful that you take the time to do this with me, Taylor. Like, I think learning live with you has been like a very positive experience for me.
Well, it's really fun, and for the learning, I got to give a shout out to the audience, who I feel like every stream they're chipping in and teaching us something new.
Absolutely. And on that note, folks, as we do this hacking together, this is an ensemble experience. One of us is driving, the other one's navigating, and the rest of y'all are helping us out. So please, chime in with opinions, with ideas, with links to documentation and that sort of thing. So on that note, today is September 30th, the last day of September, which makes tomorrow the start of October, and with that the start of Hacktoberfest. And I'd love to take a moment, if I may, to talk a little bit about that, because a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, because there's something I want to show everybody at the end, a little thing we've been working on at Codesy for doing our part in making Hacktoberfest and open source contributions in general a much smoother experience. So I'm gonna just first share my screen here, if I may, and show you all what Hacktoberfest is all about in case you don't know it.
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard about it, so I'm excited. I mean, I know what y'all are doing, which is really cool at the end. But as a concept, this is the first year that I've heard about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Let's. I love what Noreen's done here. She's done a little emoji of an octopus. That's super
cute. Cool.
That's super cool. Yeah. Let me share my screen real quick. So Hacktoberfest is a yearly event. Here we go. Hacktoberfest is a yearly event. I'm just going to make my screen bigger to encourage folks to get into open source software development by having sort of a gamified version of open source contributions. So by what you can do is sign up for it and make 5 pull requests, which on their platform, once you've got those 5 legitimate pull requests, I should say, allows you to, means you win Hacktoberfest and you get a choice of a prize, be it a t-shirt or being able to plant a tree, which are both super awesome prizes. And I'm a big fan of Hacktoberfest. I've been doing it for several years myself. In fact, today I happen to be wearing my 2020 t-shirt of Hacktoberfest in commemoration of the start of this. Just a little bit warm, so I'm covered up.
You know what's funny, Ramon? I'm hearing t-shirts and I'm like, well, should I send them an email? If they have extra stock of t-shirts after the event or something, we'll take it off their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally encourage that. And so, what lots of folks do is they coordinate and they party together to do some open source contributions and make this better. And so what we've been doing is we've been working on our own little secret thing that Taylor knows about, towards making that Hacktober experience not richer, not only for contributors but for maintainers. So we're kind of really going at this from a maintainer's perspective. But again, that's a little bit for later. So today's the kickoff of Hacktoberfest, and so we figured we'd keep on doing our open source stuff as we do on Thursdays. But I'm going to take an opportunity, if I may, to also plug the fact that starting next week, so as of Hacktoberfest, I'll be hosting a weekly show called Let's Onboard Ramón, where where I will pair up with an open source maintainer to have them onboard me onto their project, starting with Distribute and Taylor. So not a lot will change next Tuesday, but every Tuesday at around 5 p.m. CEST, depending on the time, we'll just sort of put me through the ropes and have me onboarded to that project and see how it goes.
And that's a great one if you all want to follow along. I mean, based on the project that Ramon's onboarding to, that seems really valuable to keep up with the stream and do it yourself. And of course, you can throw in some questions into the chat, like, "Hey, I use Windows. Why doesn't this work?"
Yeah. As you can see, I'm on Windows, so that's going to be a one. Cool. Yeah. So that's my plug for what we have coming up as of next week. If it's successful, we've already got, I think, 3 weeks. Like Noreen's finding out now, we've got 3 weeks lined up. We have a 4th opening. If anybody's doing some open source maintainership and wants to onboard me onto your code base, hit us up. You can see our Twitter at the top right, CodeCIO, or here is mine. Yeah. Anyway, that's plug. Let's get to do some coding. Yeah, that's what we're up to for Hacktoberfest. And yeah. But as for today, we're gonna be continuing where we left off last week. So to catch everybody up, I'm just gonna quickly go on our Git pod. Let me make this a little bit larger. Let me figure out how to make this a little bit larger. There we go. I hope that size is fine. Let me take a look. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. And so what we've been doing is some styling of our new banner module for the Distribute landing page based on the designs from Fungan, which was so much fun. I learned so much about open source design from that. So
I need that intersection. Y'all can go back and check out the videos if this is your first time here. And you want to see how designers and developers connect while using Figma and what that kind of handover looks like. Definitely check out last week's stream where we had Fungan on.
That's an excellent point, Taylor, so much so that I'm going to go ahead and just toss that into the chat. So all of these streams are automatically going up on YouTube. So feel free to like hang on to that link. Here it goes. Yeah. So if you ever want to catch up on these are going up on YouTube. Yeah. So where were we? Yes, we need to check out the branch that we were working on.
Mm-hmm.
So let me bring that up real quick. You also find them here on Twitch. V Prevails is absolutely right. The thing about finding them on Twitch is that they'll stay for 2 weeks and then go away, because we haven't activated the special mode. We need to stream more. Yeah, exactly. TIL. Yes, today I learned. No, absolutely. So what the way it works is they stay up for 2 weeks and then they're automatically deleted unless you're part of the partner program, something like this. So I got the branch name. Git checkout. The branch is called 24. Is it called 24? Let's have a look. Mission banner component. Except it's not. Excuse me for a second. Huh. Oh, my apologies. I named the branch wrong. Feature. So there we go. So this is, if I do a quick refresh now, we should see our updated branch. Sorry, that's my phone. I'm just going to turn that off. Cool. Maybe I need to restart the Yarn server. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. That's off now. Okay. Let's build that. Because we made some good progress last week that I was very happy with.
Oh, totally. We were working on this banner component, and it was really cool. I think we ended with trying to pull that SVG in, right? And get that to show up. And it was neat in Figma. You could download it as an SVG file. We weren't quite sure how to upload to Gitpod, but you could just copy and paste the code over to a file in there.
Do you know what, Taylor? I fear our commit is missing.
Uh-oh. Did we not push it up at the end?
I think we might have forgotten to push it up, but I don't think we're overly in a bad place, because I think I could be wrong. Let me just open up Gitpod real quick, because I think I saw from last time.
4 changes there.
Yeah. So fingers crossed we can start up that Gitpod, because I definitely don't want to lose that work.
Yeah. Imagine the days before version control, where you had all of your changes with no history on your machine. You had to like put them on a floppy drive and bring them to,
And as Vipervel says, now we'll know how to do it for sure. So let's have a look. Yeah. Okay. Phew. Okay, there's our changes.
So do we just want to switch to this Gitpod?
I think that makes the most sense.
Okay.
Cool. So we're
shooting it real quick.
Oh yeah, sure. So I'll just send it to you here in the private chat. Cool. But look at that. I have to say, I'm super impressed that this is still up and that we can not lose any of the work we've done. There we go.
It's really nice that it saves that state. I mean, also so we don't have to log in every time and set up the project from scratch, right?
Absolutely. So that's fantastic. That means, shall we go ahead and start by committing what we have so far?
Yeah, it's never a bad idea to overcommit, and at DA we're using the squash strategy. So on each branch, we kind of squash it down to a single merge commit message. Or I guess there's not a merge commit, but we merge it in, and it's a single commit that gets in there.
Yep, excellent. Cool. V Prevail says, do it. I agree. So let's do that right away. Are you familiar with patch adding?
No. Oh, is that like I always thought it was called partial. It's called patch, where you can kind of go through and add bits at a time.
I think that's a good question. I always called it patch because you back in the day before GitHub, you would email patches.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be wrong. So what we see here in this patch is we're rendering the distributed text as well as the world map, which is an SVG.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to do this to also like force myself to take a look at what's going on.
Mm-hmm. This is a good
We've
way
added
to get caught up.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like adding and looking at the diff at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to, for each one, it says stage this hunk, and then you press yes or no. So
Yep.
I'm going to go with yes for the social icon container. Consolidate fonts. Oh yeah, we added the font.
Mm-hmm.
And we rolled out that font.
Mm-hmm.
That's great because it gives me an opportunity to sort of remember what I was doing.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is a feature commit. We added add font. Add font as world map SVG
Mm-hmm.
and social icon. Oh, look at that.
No, we didn't quite add the social icons, but it's more the banner. We just had a kind of a placeholder for the social icons.
Placeholder. Does that look good?
Yeah, and then we began to style the banner with static content.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Nice.
So that's committed. Git push origin feature. Okay, now that's pushed. Now we've lost no work. V Prevails is like, today I learned. Yeah, Git patch is awesome. I highly recommend it because it also lets me split up my commits in case I do like a whole bunch of work.
Mm-hmm.
I like lots of small commits, but of course, it comes down to preference.
And that's a good point. I mean, in that commit right there's like 3 or 4 different things that we did. So we could have done add the SVG and then add it as static content and style the thing and then add the font change if we wanted it broken up that way. I think it's fine here because it's going to get squashed down at the end and we're mostly, that's our checkpoint, our save progress in the, but it's interesting. Depending on how your team communicates and what those dev processes look like, it could be really useful to have patch really make very small commits so that when people do reviews, it's like a quick, yes, the world map looks good, right? Yes, the font change looks good. Whereas here we tend to do it more based on like the feature or the issue. So we kind of want all of this together and then we'll review that branch at that level.
Yeah, totally. It's also I also find it's really good for sort of drilling down to problems.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have lots of commit, I've never done it myself because I'm a little bit overwhelmed by it. But there's this thing called Git bisect, where that sort of does in a binary search kind of fashion, allows you to sort of be like to specify like let's say you have a series of commits, then you can just split them in half and say, okay, is the thing still broken? Yes or no.
Oh, that's cool. So you can kind of like step through them,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's Git for you. Like, there's so much.
I'm also kind of intimidated by some of those more advanced Git commands. Yeah. And so in that case, what I would do is look through the history and start checking out commits like onto their own branch. So it's you take that commit hash and then Git check out at that point. See if it's broken. If it's not, check out the next one, kind of figure out. But I guess bisect is essentially doing that process for you.
Yeah, it automatically checks out for you. And so like by doing a binary search, meaning that it, it splits the history in half every time, it sort of lets you drill down and I'm not in I forget this term from a university, but the
login or something like that.
Yeah, one of those. I think it's login. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So now we've got our banner. I think, what do you think, Taylor? Oh, sorry, by the way, I absolutely don't have to drive today. If you want to drive and I navigate, totally cool.
Yeah, go for it. Maybe we can switch off because one of the things we wanted to do was show Contentful and take some of the static content, set up a model in Contentful and maybe try to pull it in there. So if you want to start driving right now, then
Sounds good.
maybe we can switch over, and then I'll switch back to you for the super cool showcase at the end here.
Sounds good. Yeah, look, sounds great. Okay, perfect. So, right. So I would say, like, I mean, I'm not. Please do feel free to navigate.
Yeah, can you give this a quick refresh? On my browser, that map is coming up much smaller, and I think we were trying to get the balance between the text size and the map size a little bit better.
I wonder if I'm just gonna try refresh. I don't know if this is gonna show up on stream. I'm gonna try and resize my window and see what happens. Whoa, look at that! It resizes. Yeah. So I think depending on the size of the window, it affects the size of the map.
Right. And so we probably want to limit the height of the map, maybe, or the width, like put some sort of dimensional constraints on it, just so that if you do have a large browser, like in this case, or a large window, it's not going to take up the entire top of the, what's that called? The front. There's like a newspaper word for the first visible part of a page.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I know what you mean.
The audience.
if anybody in the chat knows,
it's the part of the newspaper, above the fold. That's
fold.
Yeah, there
that's
it is.
It's above the fold.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Yes, above the fold. I didn't know that was a newspaper thing. Like, I have heard it before.
Yeah, because they used to take the newspaper and then they'd fold it in half, and that's where it'd be in the newspaper bins or the street stands or on your lawn or something.
Amazing. Yeah, above the fold. Right. No, that sounds good. So, just for context, I've got the Figma here. So, what do you think, Taylor? So this should probably be a fixed width.
Yeah,
or a maximum width,
or like a min and a max, something like that. But we need it to not get too large and not get too small. Should we maybe take a look at it as like a mobile, like a tablet view, right? I feel like that design there, that seems like about a tablet width. And so maybe we could start off optimizing it for that, just to get the visuals down right, and then look at how that scales up or down. I'm not necessarily sure I want to dive into like full mobile responsive stuff right now.
Sure, I understand.
But just to get those bounds right.
Totally. Folks, I don't know if you can do this, but you can actually make your browser simulate one of these devices here in your DevTools. Works on Firefox as well. It's really cool. We're using Chrome here. But yeah, you can pick a device that you want to emulate. So for example, a tablet, let's say a Galaxy. What's a Galaxy? Is that the folding phone? We don't want that.
I don't know.
Let's go with an iPad.
The folding phone, Ramon, the 90s called.
Well, they're back. Folding phones,
really?
Folding touchscreen phones. Yeah. So yeah, let's go with an iPad.
iPad. Cool. And that's 25%. It's a bit small. So can we on the upper bit there? Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Got to keep the DevTools open.
I did not know that. There we go. Excellent. So this gives us a great idea of what we're looking at. And interestingly enough, I'm just going to refresh just in case. And interestingly enough, the image is gone.
Mm-hmm. So we were using Flexbox, right? And we tried to limit the width of the image proportionally based on Flexbox. And I think because the text isn't set up, that's Flex 2, and then the SVG is Flex 1. So where is that SVG going?
It seems to have a size of 0 by 0.
Mm-hmm.
A folding phone, we don't want that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens if we make it in the class right there? What happens if we just try making it equal, like if that's also Flex 2?
Mm-hmm. Give that a try.
There we go.
Did it.
That looks pretty okay right there.
But that would mean that they would occupy the same amount of width.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's interesting because they're decidedly not as well. I think it means they'll grow proportionally, like in the same proportion.
Oh, yeah. Right. Which isn't quite what we want, because we want this to have a maximum width.
Mm-hmm. So what we could do is have flex 2. Let me just, we could try min width and max width.
Yeah, makes sense. In which case we could remove the flexes. I love trying out stuff here just directly in the dev tools. So we could remove the flexes from that. And that would make it the same, because they still have the same prioritization of sizing. And then we can apply some maximum and minimum width classes to the SVG.
Yeah, and it looks like so we can set these up with Tailwind. I'm just looking at the class right now where the defaults are like min dash w dash
Oh yeah,
or max or something like that.
Taylor.
Oh yep.
Taylor, I've got a question here from V Prevails. Is there a place we can find the repo for the design system?
It's on Figma. I can throw that into the chat here.
Oh yeah, and then I'll post it out.
Yep.
Good question. Thank you, V Prevails.
Yeah. Let me
the CSS. So I mean the CSS. Do you mean find the repo for the design system? Do you mean Tailwind? No. Sorry.
So it might be the customization that we've done for Tailwind. So that would be what we're doing here is we're not writing a lot of CSS. We're customizing Tailwind. Ramon, can you open the Tailwind config file?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we're using Tailwind.
So I'll throw our repo in here.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, we're using Tailwind. My bad. Yeah. Here's our custom.
I'm not sure how to leave a comment to the audience. I only have the private chat here.
I'm so sorry. Somebody just rang the doorbell. I'll be 1 second.
All good. Cool. So let's talk about Tailwind for a minute, since Ramon's got that up on his screen right now. This Tailwind config allows us to customize the styles that Tailwind, like those class names, right? So it's more about setting up the right customizations for the Tailwind class names. For example, here with the colors, we're specifying the DA color sets, right? The swatches and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we do like BG-navy and then give it a number ranging from 50 to 900, whatever's specified there, it'll know this is the color that maps to that class. It'll like generate those classes for us. So it's a little bit more prescriptive than CSS, where you're writing custom classes and kind of describing what each class should look like. In this case, you're writing the configuration, and then it's generating those utility styles and utility classes for you.
Thank you. V-Rails, right? Lovely. Yeah, perfect. So what we would need to do then, right? Sorry, you were saying about the minimum and maximum widths.
Yeah, so it seems like
it's under content page banner.
So they're responsive variants, right? So we can give it a width, and then we can do like min-w-full or min-w-min, which maps. So full would be mapping to 100%.
Right.
You know, min-w-min would map to min content, which is a CSS class. That's the minimum amount of space it needs to take. Min-w-max would map to max content. But they don't have tons of defaults if we just wanted like a pixel value per se. So
right, it would be more in EMs, right?
Yeah. So the other thing we could do is use responsive styling and just set a fixed width for that image. And if
Oh,
it's, we can have selectors at Tailwind that say, okay, at a desktop screen size, this is
yeah,
the top width. At a tablet screen size, we want to shrink it up. And I think we can do the same thing with those flex attributes. On the tablet, it looks better where it's kind of half and half. On the desktop, we might want it to be 2/3 and 1/3 or something like that.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So how shall I declare these?
Um,
What I can do here is also open up Tailwind. Documentation, because we've got. Is that the MD Flex 1 stuff? That is indeed the MD Flex 1 stuff. Exactly. So with those, we can specify what the flex should be for that specific screen size.
exactly.
That's super handy.
So they have different kind of mobile responsive breakpoints. Small kicks in at 640 pixels. Medium kicks in at 768 pixels, kind of getting to the start of the tablet range there. Large is 1024. XL is 1280. And 2XL is for a big 1536 pixel monitor. And you can specify those multiple times. So in this case, we could have like a default width or a default height. And we could say, okay, if it's, if the screen size is getting larger, smaller, something like that, then we can customize that.
Brilliant. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
So back here. So we would start with SM, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have a fixed width, you said?
Yeah, for the map, right?
Yes. This is for the SVG.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we could do is there's that width property. Let's try using the classes here. So
Sure.
SM W dash, I don't know, 16, and we'll bump it up or down from there. Maybe MD is going to be W dash 24, and LG W dash 32. Let's see how ridiculous those are, and then we can bump them up or down.
I like that. Let's give it a try.
Okay.
Huh.
So that's interesting. That's quite small. And what's going on there? Is that due to Flexbox? Is there still the Flex 2 on the paragraph there?
No, I removed it.
Okay.
So let me try if I make, can I resize this? I think if I make it custom, right? Responsive. Yes. Huh.
Oh, that's interesting. So it gets bigger and then it gets smaller again.
So you can see here it's changing the width as we go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's due to the fact that below 640, we don't have a specified width.
Mm-hmm. It's just auto.
Exactly. Then as of 640, it goes for 4 REM, which is quite small.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's 6 REM. And then it's 8 REM.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually working. The problem is it's just not big enough.
Not big enough. Right on.
So
yeah,
what we could
32 is 8 REM. Should we just double each of those maybe?
Yeah, and I was thinking we could also specify a default for the smallest screen size in case we do have devices smaller than 640 pixels in width. Say 16.
Sure.
And 32 for this one, 48 for this one, and 64. So if we do that and we refresh, That's looking better.
That's looking better. Yeah.
So if we reduce the size of the screen, it'll shrink a little.
Nice. I wonder if it's getting too small at those smaller sizes. At some point, you're going to want to use Flexbox to restack the content, right?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe just setting that default. We don't need to specify every mobile responsive breakpoint. We just have to have a default there. And I thought that the last couple were a bit small. So if we wanted to stop it on 32, we can get rid of that small 32 and then make the default width 32. Let's try that.
It's still quite small, and I wonder, Taylor, if it has to do with the fact that they're REM and not pixel values.
Maybe. It might also be the flex. I wonder that div that's wrapping everything, if we just take the flex out of there, since we're not using the flex features right now, if that's going to influence the sizing at all.
It makes it a block.
But did the image got larger there, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
So we kind of want that image to be fixed. We might still want it to be Flexbox, right? Because that'll make it really easy to keep them side by side. But we want to have a fixed image size based on the size that we're specifying, rather than let Flexbox automatically do it. So
yeah, it could be that this thing is that the paragraph is overpowering it.
So we could do a few things. I'm looking at the Tailwind documentation. We were using like Flex 1, Flex 2, and that was, it says, use Flex 1 to allow a Flex item to grow and shrink as needed, ignoring its initial size. Use Flex Auto to allow a Flex item to grow and shrink, taking into account its initial size. And use Flex None to prevent a Flex item from growing or shrinking. So we might want to make it Flex and then put Flex None on the SVG, and the paragraph will scale, according to that image size.
Got it. Let's give that a try. Flex None, you said. Yeah, that's much better. Nice. And now it's growing accordingly.
Nice. That looks great. Yeah. I just want to show the audience, what does Flex None map to in actual CSS? Like there's the grow, shrink, and basis parameters.
Here we go. It's showing that it's Flex None.
Right. So 0 grow, it can't grow. 0 shrink, it can't shrink. And the basis is auto, which is that initial size that we're giving it, rather than Flexbox calculating the size.
Today I learned. This is awesome. Thank you.
So like Flex 1 would be Flex Grow is 1, Flex Shrink is 1, Flex Basis is 0, right? Don't worry about its initial size. Just treat it equally. Flex Auto would be 1, 1, and auto for the size. Start off with its initial size, but if you need to shrink and grow proportionally, then go for it.
Fantastic. So this is Flex None. The other thing I'm wondering, Taylor, do we want to have a little bit of space between these?
Definitely. I think a little bit of space is called for in the design. I wonder if there's a good way to get like a gutter or something going.
Let's find out. Flexbox Gutter.
Oh, I'm getting ads. Need your gutter cleaned.
Not quite what we're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, there's a gap in Flexbox. That might be what we're looking for.
Yes. Oh, here we go. This looks good. What did you call it? Sorry.
Gap.
Gap.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. So we want gap X and then something, I suppose. Let's give that a try. And that would be On which element would that be on? Oh, but this is for grid.
It also says Flexbox. I think if we
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so if we put it on the parent there, it'll create the gap between all of the items, which will be helpful when we add the social media icons.
Perfect. Perfect. Let's give that a try. Huh. Do we have that gap? Oh yeah, look.
Oh, there we go. So we
Yeah,
just
you can
need to make it larger.
Yeah. Here we can experiment and put in, say, 4.
Yeah, that'll be one REM.
Do we want a little more?
Even want it to, well, maybe let's make it proportional to that padding on the sides. So how much?
Oh yeah.
The PX is 16. Should we make the gap 8?
Sounds good.
I'm trying to stay away from doing something like getting into golden ratios between all the different. We could spend the whole day on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think this looks good.
Okay. What else do we have going on here? Everything's top aligned, right? So we want the text to kind of be center aligned. And there's actually, if you go back to Figma, I think there's some updated content for the text. So let's copy that in to make sure we're aligning things well. I think that'll help on the larger screens.
Let's do it. Ah, wait, we need the strong stuff. So we actually have 2 paragraphs. In that case, Taylor, I would say let's wrap those paragraphs in their own div.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
So we've got, whoops, this anymore. Distribute aid, delivers humanitarian. Can I copy just this paragraph? No. Oh, and we don't have the strongs anymore.
Well, I think what we should do, let's make that top portion strong, but let's use a class for that rather than adding a strong tag.
Got it.
We can use CSS.
Font black, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Back here, and then we can add the rest of it. I think that looks good.
Yeah, that looks groovy.
Perfect.
Sweet.
The other thing we need is a bit of a margin between these 2 paragraphs. Unless I'm mistaken.
Nope, totally right. That should be fairly straightforward. I think we're getting in the swing with the it's not React, the Tailwind classes. Yeah. So PY. So I think it'll be MY, but we want it just on the lower half, right?
I think that's bottom. So MB.
MB, exactly. MB dash, maybe 8 to keep it consistent with our gap, or is that going to be too much?
I think that makes sense. I think 8. That way we're proportional. So that looks good.
Yeah. Cool.
And then after that, we want a vertical. We want this to be vertically centered.
Mm-hmm. So that's going back to Flexbox there.
As in making this a Flexbox.
No, probably just customizing with Flexbox. You can have different types of layout. So there's like stretch or top aligned or bottom aligned, right?
Right.
There's like justify content, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So if we do justify, that's along the main axis. So then there's also align items, the cross axis. So if we try maybe items dash center, I think on that wrapper. Yeah.
So V prevails writes depends on the direction, I think, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look. Oh, that already looks great.
Amazing.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool. That already looks wonderful.
Yeah. I'm thrilled with this.
Yeah. I think we can, would it be fair to say we can go ahead and commit what we have?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just
Unless I'm missing
wondering, it
something.
looks like, especially on this kind of large screen view, I
Yeah.
almost feel like there's too much top and bottom padding. I'm wondering
Mm-hmm.
for that SVG on the map, is there padding on the map as well?
Let's have a look.
No, it's pretty streamlined there. Because I know sometimes with PNGs or these other image formats where you
Yeah.
have a transparent background, it could have a much larger height, which then throws off your spacing. In this case, I think because the map is on the right-hand side, but we're kind of looking at the text portion. And so if the text is centered on the map, the vertical spacing for the container there appears to be a bit much. Maybe let's just bump that down. I think we made it quite big, right? So we could do it. Should we try 16 as well, or 20 on that top and bottom axis?
Good call. Let's try both, shall we? Let's try 16 would make it proportional with the Y. Sorry, with the X padding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to turn off the device toggle for now, which looks pretty good. And the other one you want to suggest was 20.
Yeah, I think they're both great. I'll leave it to you. Your call.
Oh, Chad, if you have an opinion, please do weigh in
Chat,
as well.
vote 16, 20.
16 versus 20. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might be slightly leaning towards 20.
Mm-hmm. Just to have it so not everything is the same. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. So let's
Cool.
reduce that. Perfect. Cool. Yeah, that seems like a good place to commit. And then what do you think? Shall we switch over to you and do some custom stuff?
Yeah, totally. If we want to start looking at how to get this integrated, we're kind of working it from both ends. So let's pause on the styling and content front here and start preparing for getting these banners set up in Contentful.
Fantastic. I'm excited. So this is a feature. I would say, is bug fix one? Fix?
Yeah, I think just fix.
I think what we're doing is fixing the styling. Improve layout and styles of banner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This time I'm going to be very sure to push.
I think with conventional commits, the idea is that a fix typically corresponds with like a patch in semantic versioning. That'd be the third, it's like 1.0.0. That would bump it up to 1.0.1. A feature would bump up the minor, right? So that would be like 1.1. So in this case, we're not really adding a new feature. We did that last time. We're just patching the styles. So that makes sense to me.
Well said. Well said. Cool. All right, then. I will pass the baton to you then.
Cool.
So, folks, Taylor's going to take over driving for a bit, and I will be navigating / watching in awe as we do some contentful stuff.
Totally. And if you could have Figma pulled up, Ramon, just to get me through the content. Do you need the link here?
No, I've got it. Thank you.
Awesome.
So I've got it here.
Okay. I can share my screen. I just need you to tell me what sort of elements are there so I can add them in the Contentful.
Got it. Sounds good. So excited. I'm always eager to see how can we have both screens? No, we can't. Okay. That's fair. But yeah, I've got it. I've got an eye on it here.
Awesome. Am I up and running?
You are up and running, and I would say, unless somebody from chat thinks otherwise, the size looks fine as well.
Cool. So I just want to go through how we've set this up, and I'm not a Contentful expert, but I just wanted to make this kind of dynamic. So we have pages, right? Pages have a title, a slug. They can lead to other pages, kind of link between each other, and then they have sections in them. And so a page section, this would have a title, a slug, kind of customizable styles. I set a lot of this up like just to play around with Contentful. I'm not sure that we need to have different flavors for everything, right? In this case, we have a single look for the banner that we want to keep consistent. But this might be like the heading section of the site, something like that, or of the page. And then we have content. So maybe we don't even really need a section here. This is just kind of linking through to the content. Could simplify this possibly, but content is what we've been working on. And it's been in our corresponding, we have components, and then we have different types of content components, and that's where the page banner is. Exactly. So here we have some content. You've seen photos. We have markdown blobs. Let me click on that. In this case, we're going to have a page banner. So I'm going to add a new content type.
Nice.
Just namespace it a bit. Page banner. Great. So we need to add a few fields here. I always like to give a title just as a way to reference this stuff in Contentful, right? Yeah. It also lets us generate slugs if we wanted to, for example, do anchor links to do a table of contents or to links to something specific on the page. So that's helpful. I'm going to go create this field and configure it. This is going to represent the entity title. And just because it's in Contentful doesn't mean that we have to have a title for our banner. There's not a title element on there if we look at the designs here, but it's helpful when you're making entries. This is the homepage banner. This might be the About Us banner, something like that, to just give it some context for people who are working with things in Contentful. Validation, I want to require a title, and I want the title to be unique so we can find them easily. Don't really care about character count in this case, or anything like that. And appearance, this will just be a single line. So the next thing I like to do is give it a slug, just to have that available later if we need it. And required, it should also be unique. That's especially important for slugs. If we have different slugs of the same content type that aren't unique, then it would be confusing. It's like, which anchor link are we jumping to? And that will automatically be generated for us using the entry title. So what other sorts of content do we have in the banner, Ramon?
We've got, would we have an image?
Yep, we have that SVG there for sure.
Yeah.
And we have, in this case, the DA logo over here.
Yeah. Do the other designs show, perhaps, let me take a look here on Figma as well. Would we have sometimes not, or sorry, would we sometimes have the social icons and sometimes not? I don't think so. I think we'd always have the social icons.
Yeah, I think we always have the social icons. And I might almost pull those from somewhere else. That seems like kind of either hard code them in maybe, or if we wanted them flexible, have like a list of social icons that we pull into this component, just kind of a static thing, rather than have that be super customizable. Because if we're changing them there, we might also want to change them in other places on the site to be consistent, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. So we have the interesting thing here. There's different types of content, right, in different orders. So I want to go back to Contentful. How would we deal with that? Let me go ahead and save this so far. Now, if we just add, say, a rich text, right? That's kind of what we've been hard coding up. There's some bolding, there's some light styling. Maybe you want to throw a link in there. That would make that available on our page banner entries, but it doesn't tell us anything about the ordering. It doesn't say on this page, the map is supposed to be on right, and on this other page, the bird is supposed to be left of the text.
Right.
So we need to figure out a way to do that. I'm going to go back to our other types of content here, because we do have a photo and we do have markdown, right? So what I'll do here is make a reference field. So this is going to be, we'll just call it content. And it can have many references. So this is similar to a one-to-many. We could have multiple types of content in there. I'll go ahead and configure it. So validation, we probably want some content, right? There's got to be at least something there. We could have a minimum and a maximum. So we don't overwhelm that banner, right? If you put 10 items in that Flexbox, it's not going to be super happy. So Ramon, what do you think here for that? Like 1 to 3?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. And we only want to accept certain types of entries. So we're looking at rich text, which would be our markdown content. And we're looking at
That's amazing.
A photo as well. This gives us the flexibility. If we wanted to say have a visualization or something later on, we could go back and edit this and add that in, but it doesn't make sense to have like a page or something in there.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I'm almost starting to feel like based on this, the page banner here is really more of a section. So let's go back to that section model and see if are we recreating a lot of that kind of data architecture that a section already has.
I'm just so surprised at how what's the word? Robust this is. How much you can do.
I feel like it's really good, but I already know I've added too much complexity. Like our main menu, I decided to design a main menu in here so you could dynamically change all of the links and then link to pages that are set up. And it's like that probably would have been easier to just start off by hard coding, and then if we really needed that, work it into Contentful. So I feel like it's anytime you can do a whole lot of cool stuff, you have to really be careful about what cool stuff you choose to do, right? So going back to this page section, we already have a title, a slug. Now this is where it gets interesting. We have specific styles we want to apply to this banner, right? So, and a specific layout. So I feel like on that banner, that's maybe where we have a flavor and a layout. We could have like a banner sort of layout, right? And then we have the content. We could just link to content that's already set up. I feel like we've recreated most of this, but just named it the page banner over here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool. But that's okay. I think it was cool to see how Contentful works and how you'd set this up. And sometimes you got to go through that process. This is like refactoring the data architecture, just like how we refactor code, right?
Which is fascinating because it's something that doesn't come up that often. In a way, I'm trying to think back in my full stack days. I think I would spend more time doing this at a database level, and that's kind of what we're doing here. It's
Exactly.
content modeling. I love it, as V
Exactly.
Prevail says.
Now, I have no idea if I can actually delete this stuff.
Oh,
Um,
can you go? Is it under actions, maybe?
oh, there we go.
There you go. Nice.
But,
Oh, that's very helpful.
let's try to use the tools we already have and actually get this content entered. So I know that we're working on the homepage, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to go to our homepage. Now this is cool. When you're actually messing with the data, here's the site. And then we have a homepage linked in the site. So I found it right there. I can click on it. This is the page. Then we have different sections right here, right? So remember when we commented all of that stuff out, we already have kind of an above the fold section. I'm going to go ahead and just want to add a new one so we start fresh. I'm going to call this the all right, what's my naming convention here? Okay, so homepage
banner.
There we go.
The slug, I guess, would be homepage _ banner or something like this.
Yeah, it should automatically generate it though.
Oh,
that's okay. So we can do great. The flavor here, we have to choose. So we can call this one a row, right? The layout, it's a Flexbox row. And then for the flavor, which would be the additional styling, what we'll need to do here, I'm just going to save this. We need to add a banner flavor, something like that, right? Where it's like specifically this type of thing. But then we can go ahead and add our content. So we have some markdown. And I'll just copy
you'll
this.
probably need an SVG from me.
Yeah, might need to upload an SVG here. So can make this, we wanted this bold, right?
Wow, okay.
And then there's a space.
Of course, it's markdown.
Text. Exactly. Super easy.
Nice.
Now, we might not get the exact customized styles, like the spacing between the paragraphs or something. I'm not sure if that's... I think that might be okay, though, right?
I mean, worst case scenario, what we can do is write inline classes here, or write some CSS outside or something.
Yeah.
Neither of which is ideal, but it depends on the convention you have for the project.
Yeah, that's true. And
unless we need to come up with that convention now.
I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like we could do a bit of both. We might also be able to extend this content and have tags here, right? We could write the CSS classes here, just adding another field, or we could have something else.
Of course, we can leverage Contentful in this case.
Yeah. It's like, what's all that dynamic part of your site? Let's pull that out into a model.
Brilliant.
Okay, so the label for this homepage banner description.
Shall we try then? Now that we've got this, shall we try and get just the paragraph in first for today?
Yeah, I know we did want to take some time to look at that cool new CodeC thing too.
So I mean, just so we do this in like in the step-by-step fashion. I wasn't trying to speed us up or anything.
Okay, yeah. What's the next step here? You're navigating me.
Oh yeah. So shall we try and display this paragraph in our code. Okay. Okay. We're gonna do this.
Let's see what we can do.
Let's, I would say, first open up our main page template.
Huh?
And from here, we'll get the contentful data for that banner.
Yeah, and we commented that bit out, right? So by using the existing page and sections structure, we should be able to, since we're using the existing content models, we don't necessarily need to grab anything new, right?
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay. Cool.
And where are we using? The page banner.
Yeah.
So the question is,
comment this bit out. That was to help us figure out the styling and stuff. But let's just see if we can get the section going here. Why is that? I'm wondering if we lost an import somewhere.
Isn't section a semantic HTML? Oh, no, never mind. It's capitalized. It's a React thing.
Yeah. That might have been the when we committed the auto linter. I want to look at the section here. So we have different types of sections.
That's it. That's it. So now we can do, we have the mission banner section.
Yeah, the page banner here. So it's called mission banner here. We called it page banner. I might just update this to be consistent.
Sounds good. Oh, this is so elegant.
Okay, and now we need to copy that import over.
I would even say exactly cut and paste. So in theory, where are we?
We need to go
one level up and then content. So remove the components part there.
Okay, so what we want to do is when we're rendering this main page, we don't need to put the page banner there custom anymore. It should say, oh, this is a page banner section. It'll go to sections here, and then it'll go through and say, oh, you're a page banner. That is the type of section you are. So it's the section.layout. That's the key thing there to know that this is a page banner. We get to keep a lot of our custom styling, right? We might want to pass in the actual section content here at some point to have it content dynamically loaded.
We need to declare a prop for that.
Probably, yeah. So we can go here to the page banner and props. How are we doing that with, say, the stack here?
Section, contentful page.
Easy.
Nice.
So
we need to
import that. Okay.
Perfect.
That looks good. We don't have to call it yet because we're not ready for that content. That works there. We have our page banner, and that is hooked up to the main page. So I'm just going to make one more adjustment on Contentful here on the type of sections that we have. We'll need to edit the Is that the layout there?
Where? I don't see. Doesn't seem like we're using the layout, unless I'm mistaken.
I think that's where the switch is. So we choose the different type of section based on that layout parameter.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to edit it here. And we have stack, row, grid, gallery, page banner. There we go.
Nice.
So that makes it really easy. We don't actually have to set up a whole content model for every React component. As long as it kind of behaves like a section, we just have to say, oh, you have some content. You might have a title or a flavor or something like that. You are this type of page section, and add that as an option in the layout.
That's wonderful. That makes life so much easier.
Yep. And then I just want to got to make that here. We have page sections, we have the homepage banner, and there we go. It's not a row. It's a page banner. It's a special type of row. Cool. The other bit I want to do is go back to our homepage. And let's just go ahead and remove this other stuff for now so that we can see what's going to be on there properly. Publish that. Great. You ready to see if all this worked?
Let's do it. In theory, nothing should change.
Yep.
Or we should get some more sections.
Well,
okay. Shall we scroll down below the image?
We changed content, so we need to restart the server real quick.
Ah, that's it.
Yep, that's the trick there. Yep. So which terminal is this running in? There we go.
Fingers crossed. Of course, because we updated the Contentful stuff, we need to restart. That makes sense.
It'd be nice if there was a hook for that. Like that's how it's set up in deployment on Netlify. But if we could just have Contentful ping, whatever, git pod. Okay, I'm not seeing any errors here. So let's take a look.
Fingers crossed.
Doesn't that look great? It says there's supposed to be a section, and there's a section. We could even dive in just a little bit more, and stop me because I'm very excited for you to show stuff off to everyone else. But we have this section here as the prop. We're not going to pass it any children because this is supposed to be described by the let's see how the stack works.
And that would be a markdown? I thought I saw something about a markdown thing.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. So what we're doing here is we're actually passing for the stack that's set up. That creates the wrapper, and then we map the children here, right, inside of it. That might be the way to do it for the page banner as well. That lets us be a bit dynamic.
Oh, we got an error because
we need to wrap
TypeScript isn't. Ah.
Yeah.
Wait, is it that it's not closed? That the page.
Yep. So now we need to close it out.
Ah, right. Right.
Okay, that was the old one. Cool. So that's good. So now we'll have the children. That'll be that content, like that that markdown bit that we wrote. So let's just add that into props. And we have that. We have children. Okay. So now we just want to render the children. I think it should be that simple because we already have those set up as content. What I'll do right here is, this is one child, this is the second child. I'm going to comment this out for now, right?
Gotcha.
Just so we can easily toggle it and compare. And then we'll simply render the children right there. That should get us our paragraph, I believe. There we go.
Wow.
Doesn't have all the colors, but that's now coming from Contentful. Now,
wow, that is satisfying.
I wonder, we can do a few things. We could say that this is supposed to be the font color and style for the whole
thing.
Right? Just put it up top so there's some consistency there.
Let's do it.
And then, should we try to get this SVG up on Contentful? That should be really easy, right? We have our homepage banner.
Let's save that for next time, if I may suggest.
That's where we'll pick up next time. That's actually smart. Yeah. I'm just excited now.
No, same here. Same here. What?
There we go.
Taylor, that is amazing.
Coming straight from Contentful. Yeah, I'm glad we tried not to do too much with the banner itself and just kind of work it into what's already there.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Totally.
Oh, what a good session. Yeah, let's go ahead and commit that.
Mm-hmm. Good. So.
And then wrap this up by next time.
Yep.
See, we've hooked up the page banner to Contentful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, brilliant. And that's a feature, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's adding stuff, making it dynamic.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Oh
no, did I not pull down your changes?
No, you're good. We're on the same one. So I think you need to git push origin and then the name of the branch.
Gotcha.
All right. There we go. Nice. Wow.
Cool.
Kudos, Taylor. That was incredible. Like, I feel like I learned so much about Contentful, and the dynamic nature was stellar. I'm super impressed.
I mean, I love that approach, like kind of specking out what we wanted to see and then hooking everything up to kind of recreate that using Contentful was
kind of it's kind of an outside in approach. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah. Good deal. Okay, I'm going to throw it back to you over here.
Yeah, cool. All right. So in the spirit of let's take a step back again. Thank you so much, Taylor. And thank you so much for joining us on our first session of what we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. Let me share my screen again. Let me talk to you a little bit about what we've been working on in the spirit of Hacktoberfest and what I'm so excited about when it comes to providing a way for doing our part in easing the way that folks get onboarded onto Codebases, which is something we're doing at Codebase, at CodeC pretty strongly. And that is, we want to make the experience for contributors getting acquainted with the new Codebase all the easier, which is why we're so focused on this sort of thing. And so when it came to Hacktoberfest and our open source efforts, we had the idea, why don't we provide a way for folks to be able to not just find projects, but also improve the onboarding of the projects that they maintain. And to do that, hold on. Now I can do this live. Hold on. Let me just don my hat here.
What?
This does not work with headphones at all.
Hey, Ramon, I got some shipping containers. Can I just throw them aboard?
Absolutely. So what we've been doing here is working on our new project, which we've called the open source or OSS port. And what this is a listing of this is a community and a listing of projects looking for open source contributors. In a way, it's Jurgen Rotterdam. Someone's got a good memory. Yeah. For context, I was emceeing at a conference that took place on a decommissioned cruise ship in Rotterdam, and we had our sailor hats. So now I've been upgraded to Admiral. Anyway, what we're working on is this platform, which is fully open source, by the way, for folks to be able to not only, as said, find projects to contribute to, but what we really want to focus is on the maintainer experience. How can we make the lives of maintainers easier for finding not just code contributors, but also non-code contributors? And one thing I've been working on, Taylor, which you know a little bit about, is the OSS port listing for DistributeAid's landing page. So what you'll see on the right here, what you see on this page is a listing of a whole bunch of projects which folks have already been contributing live to the site, as well as the filters for what kind of project you as a contributor would love to work on. So you've got a whole bunch of stuff like languages, different kinds of stacks, as well as the focuses. This is something that we're pretty proud of. We want to be able to give folks the ability to find projects for things that they are interested in, be it, for example, community projects, data visualizations, machine learning, eye tracking, that's new, that's awesome, gaming, health, and as well, which is something I'm very excited about, social activism, which is where you find projects such as those that DistributeAid is working on. And that's what you'll find here. DistributeAid.org, which is the landing page that Taylor and I have been hacking on the last couple of months, is listed here on the port. And you'll find not just a breakdown of recent activity, as well as a link to the repository, of course, some Twitter, some socials. We're also going to be listing the open collective, which I will just very meekly show here again.
Appreciate it.
Of course. If you ever want to contribute to DistributeAid, please feel free to go to this open collective page. So what we wanted to do here to take this beyond a README or a repository page for GitHub is to provide not just, as said, this breakdown, but also these filterings, as well as an emphasis on getting up and running as a contributor. So for example, you'll find stuff like a contribution overview where most contributors are, which is really all over the world, but what kind of ideal contributor.
That's interesting. So looking at that contribution overview, I'm surprised that there's so many. It says Europe instead of the US. Is that y'all are pulling the data down from GitHub commits and stuff?
No, that was something I put down.
Oh, okay.
I'm probably totally wrong because we've got folks from all over the world working on DistributeAid. What also really driving home what kind of cadence would be great to have, that there's an automated dev environment available, such as with Gitpod. And this is something I'm very excited about, the ability to list as yourself as a maintainer and say, hey, I'm happy to help you on board with this. I'm happy to help mentor you with this. Going beyond that, having some contribution guidelines. And we've also listed some issues that are where help is wanted, as well as very special for Hacktoberfest, some Hacktoberfest friendly issues, as well as the ability to list some links where you can get started with that stack. So learning about Contentful, Gatsby, Markdown, and that sort of thing.
That is so cool. This is, thank you so much for putting all of this together, Ramon. I have seen the entry, but I haven't seen all of this new stuff.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit with my hat here. This is already based on a great foundation laid by you and the team at DistributeAid, which I've been very honored to be able to work with in the last couple months. And and also, of course, if you want to list your code C map here, I've actually taken the time to put up the one that we did for the DistributeAid website. Nice. Bam, right there, ready and public for folks to be able to use. So, and I'm very thrilled to say that we've gotten already I could be wrong, but we've got over 40 projects already listed here. Some of them have taken the time to really put these listings to shine. And I'm very, very excited, because one thing I forgot to mention in our distributed part is that we're not only listing focuses and languages, but also what kind of code contributions folks are looking for.
Yeah.
So for example, maybe you're not looking to be able to, maybe you're not looking to contribute code, but maybe you're looking to contribute issue triage. Bam. Free Code Camp is looking for help with issue triage.
Nice.
Or maybe, yeah, and stuff like this.
It's like code reviews. I love that. So if you don't necessarily want to get super involved, but you want to help people, get their Hacktoberfest PRs in, right?
Oh my God, yes.
By reviewing their code and checking it out and encouraging them to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. So a whole bunch of projects are looking for help with code reviews. So, and of course, as said, this is open source. We've got a template so that you can list your project if you want to put yours up. Folks in the chat, if you want to put up your stuff on OSS port, we will happily support you in being able to make your entry shine. And really, as said, what we want to do with this is really make that onboarding experience as smooth as possible. We want to get folks making not only many contributions, but meaningful and long-lasting, like evergreen contributions. So yeah, we've got a Discord as well if you want to join in. And hope to see you on the port. Well, folks, that kind of covers everything we want to do today. If you want to check out the port, please feel free to go to oss-port.com. Just put it up there on the chat. And thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Taylor, as always. It's been a pleasure.
A lot of fun today, Ramon. Great to see you again. And everyone take care. We'll be back next week.
See you later, everybody. And happy Hacktoberfest.